After the weekend's exploits in Lothian, the Dons are back at home at Pittodrie to welcome St Mirren tomorrow evening to the Granite City. Let's hope the atmosphere was as good as last week against Noah. Kick-off tomorrow night is at 19:45. In terms of the league table, it's a very interesting look because if you look above us, Falkirk, who are 3 points ahead of us but on the same goal difference, they are at home to Motherwell, who currently sit in third place. So we're kind of hoping a win for us, coupled with a loss for Falkirk, with goals going our way, we could climb into the top half of the table tomorrow. Dundee United, who are just below us, they host Rangers. Celtic take on Dundee. And the leaders Hearts, they're at home to Kilmarnock. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Tuesday night, ahead of our game against St Mirren at Pittodrie tomorrow. So, coming up on the show tonight, it's basically all about you. It's your opportunity to come on, just have your say, and I'll read out as many comments as I can tonight. So we've got no guests or interviews or anything like that. I just thought I would leave it as an open book for you to come on and have your say. I do have a soundbite from the manager ahead of tomorrow's game. He gave his press conference earlier today. It's only just gone out on socials. He's talking about what is quite a hectic period for us leading up to Christmas. Games coming thick and fast domestically and, of course, in Europe as well. Now, I don't mean to start the show sort of on a negative vibe, but did you read the very interesting article that went on the BBC Sport website in the past couple of days after the Livingston game? I just want to I've kind of paraphrased it and I've put it into bullet points for you. It makes for very interesting reading. Now, despite the fact that we're on a good run at the moment, winning games, climbing the table, what the article is suggesting is that we can't sustain just winning and scraping games by a goal. So have a look at this. It's quite an interesting read. So, only 10 league goals scored in 13 games, which is the second fewest in the division. Aberdeen have failed to score more than once in their past 9 games. The Dons rank 9th in the division for chances created from open play. The Dons have the worst crossing accuracy from open play in the league. Our conversion rate is a measly 6.4%. And from set pieces, the Dons have created the second fewest chances in the league. It absolutely makes for awful reading, doesn't it? And when I read it, I was like, oh my God. I know you can argue that stats don't really matter. It's results that matter. And I will absolutely take that, but I will also argue the toss that stats are important to see how we're progressing, how we're playing, how we're coping in games, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And unfortunately, despite us winning games, we're still doing an awful lot wrong. And there's still huge room for improvement. And what's been really interesting recently on my socials are the comments about, yeah, it's great to get the wins. Of course, it's brilliant. It's what we all support the club for. But there is very much a negative feel about how we play, how we set up, and how we are conducting ourselves in games. You know, Andrew Budge and I, on the show last night, thank you for watching, by the way. The viewing figures are really, really good for that. And I had some excellent feedback from it. So thank you for tuning in. Again, it wasn't us being downtrodden. It was just showing where against, you know, maybe your Celtic or your Hearts or your Hibs or whoever, they're going to punish us for the mistakes that we are currently making in our own half. What was also interesting from that article was our pass percentage accuracy, which was 58% overall. But when it came to the final third, our pass accuracy percentage dropped significantly. And this is where I think he's got to really think about how we play going forward, because we look awful going forward. He's solidified us at the back by playing three at the back, which is fine. But by playing the wing backs, it's basically making our wingers completely and utterly void. And when you think about back to last season and that magnificent run that we had at the beginning of last season in Jimmy's first term, the goals that we were scoring were all coming from crosses into the box or cutbacks. That was the majority of our goals. That's now completely null and void in our game. So I don't really know what to make of it. I really don't. Yeah, of course, I'm thrilled to bits that we seem to be getting back on track and we're climbing the table. And there's room to climb the table even more come the weekend. And we could find ourselves, right up there. just a few weeks ago was almost unthinkable. But to balance how well we're playing at the back to how awful we're doing playing going forward, that's why Jimmy's earning the big bucks. Because I think we all agree, and you know me, I don't speak for anybody, I only speak for myself, but I would like to think that we all agree that at times the football on display has been absolutely eye-bleeding stuff. But hey, it's all about the points. Right, the team for tomorrow, I'm going to take a bit of a stab at this. So, come on, have a look. Tell me what you think. I'm going to stick, because I think you'll just stick with the three. I have to be honest. I'm going to stick with Shinzo at left back, because I just think, he did a job there against Livingston, which will put Loban over on the right-hand side. So, in the midfield, I've taken Sivert Hilton-Nielsen out because I just, again, with the greatest respect, I just don't think he's contributing. So I've stuck Armstrong in beside Adil Ashish. I think Toppy's got to start. You can argue the toss whether he starts on the right or whether he starts on the left, whether he swaps with Jesper Karlsson, who knows. And again, you can argue the toss whether it will be Kevin Nisbet, it will be Marko Lasetic that starts the game. So I think Toppy's got to start no matter what. That's roughly what I think the team will be tomorrow. Hey, what do I know? I always get it wrong. So a gentle reminder, Ali Beg AB TV is supported by and brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. They also offer these services: rentals, torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding. So if any of those services fit your needs, feel free to get in touch with the fine chaps at Saltire Energy or come to me and then I'll put you in direct touch with them. Right, let me just read out your comments before we do the match stats and before we hear from the manager. So let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. And then I can just free up some room here. Hang on, just while I free up some room. Right, what did I want in? So I wanted Yimmy in there. That's fine. And then I wanted Mr. Dolly in there. So you can all have a wee look at that. Ah, yes, mustn't forget that. Okay, then we are all done. Right, that's us. Okay, right, let's get to your comments. So, Cameron Young came on first of all. He said, big game tomorrow night against St Mirren. Really hope we can get the result and hopefully continue our winning run from Sunday. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. We need a win tomorrow. It's not going to be easy. Keep up the run and start climbing the table. Come on, you Reds. Bruce Struthers says, hello, fellow dandies. I've missed the last few live shows as I've been crazy busy with work. That's a shocking excuse, Bruce. Rushed home tonight to join in. My wife says, I'm missing my boyfriend, Ali. Bruce came back to say, hope Yimmy sees sense and plays Polvara tomorrow rather than Nielsen. Don't want to knock the guy, but Nielsen looked way off it at Livy. Keskinen to start as well. Stevie Williamson says, hi Ali and fellow dandies. Let's keep grinding out the results for now. Best wishes for my friend Johnny, who is working in Switzerland. So hello to you, Johnny. Bruce came back to say, how good has Jack Milne been recently? Honestly, I think Jack has been absolutely fantastic. I would go as far as saying that at the moment, I think he's our player of the year. So far. Tell me what you think. John Grant says, hi all, hopefully we can stay strong at the back and be a lot more productive up front. I would love to see Nisbet and Marco up front with a bit of width from Toppy and Jesper. Dante in midfield too. Come on, you Reds. Steve Williamson came back to say, can you give a big shout out to my son Michael, who is celebrating his 21st birthday. We had a fantastic trip to Athens. So Michael, very happy birthday, fella, on your special day. I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic day and you got spoilt rotten. David Horn says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Hoping for another 3 points tomorrow night. Suze is here. She says, good evening all. Big game ahead. Need to start giving our all for 90 minutes. That was the general consensus on my socials in the past few days. That why can't we, and again, this topic continues to creep in, why can't we play a 90-minute game of football? It's utterly bizarre, isn't it? The manager, you need to watch the manager's press conference because it's really interesting when he's talking about, well, you'll hear it in a minute, it's the rotation of players because of the volume of games that are coming up. And he's talking about the depth of the squad and how important it is that the players who don't play and don't feature, the intensity in training is just as good as if they were preparing for a game. So I'll bring that to you in just a minute. David Gold is here wishing you all a good evening. He said we need another win to build momentum and confidence. John Kylo says, why do Aberdeen fans in general think we have a player called Nielsen? His name is Nilsson or Heltne Nilsson. Okay. Neil says, hi Ali, fantastic to meet you at the Noah game and think Aberdeen will win 3-1 tomorrow night. Come on, the Dons, make us happy. John Kylo says, Yimmy's reply was the game is all about scoring one more than the opposition and 1-0 counts. I see he studied the game in some depth then. Bruce Strother says, however you spell it, Heltne Nilsson is not the answer in midfield. James Jappy says, Ali, the amount of missed passes is unreal. The problem is lack of movement, and a player I'd be looking at is... Who's that? Would be Miller, Falkirk, and ex-Don Ross, playing well, good movement. Are you talking about Ethan Ross? Is that who you're talking about? The boy Miller? Come back and tell me who that is, please, James. Graham Gibbs says, Ali, I don't trust stats either, but BBC Sport did a similar analysis on our 11-match run last season, and the takeaway was it was not sustainable, and so it proved. Gary Farquhar said, would love to see something out the norm and play 2 strikers up top tomorrow, but unfortunately I think it will be the usual eye-bleeding stuff that we've been seeing recently. John Kylo says, I don't see Armstrong playing in the middle, nor Keskinen starting. Do you know, it is really interesting about Yimmy because, and look, I'm happy to stand corrected here, so please tell me if I'm speaking absolute nonsense, but when he was at Elfsborg, did he not always favour just the one striker? And I can't remember if he's ever played 2 strikers up top for Aberdeen. Has he? My memory doesn't serve me very well these days, so if he has, let me know, because I can't mind. And I'm sure that was the way he played at Elfsborg was always one up top. Could be wrong though. Probably am. David Gold came back to say, Toppy on the left, Milanovic on the right, Carlson on the bench, too bloody greedy. David, I absolutely take that point, and I think it's a good point. That would actually be quite an interesting thought, wouldn't it? Would he drop Jesper Carlson? Because I don't think Jesper, again, we discussed this last night, I don't think Jesper's been playing very well. I really don't. Flashes, great, but too greedy. Scott's Hawk said, I'm convinced there's an excellent player there in Milanovic. Would like to see him get more game time. I agree, Scott. I'm with you with that one. I just don't think he's quite settled into the Scottish way yet. I think that's his worry. But the only way that will come is game time. Dave B says, I think from what JT says, he's trying to build confidence in the team, and at some point he's going to become more positive in his tactics. Jack Bruce says, my first game for a while tomorrow. If Nielsen starts, I'm just going to stay at the pub. Oh my God. I'm going to have a shocker with this now, aren't I? GH. Sorry, mate. It's, for some reason, YouTube have now just given your usernames and not your actual names. So, GH, I'm sorry that I've not been able to give you a proper pronunciation here. Our passing, crossing, and shooting is not even Highland League standard. It isn't. It's absolutely bloody shocking. John Grant says, you're correct on passing and set plays, Ali. Countless times we produce nothing. Corners and often fail to find our own men from corners. Honestly, the set pieces drive me mental. Absolutely mental. Why can't we beat the first man? Honestly. Right, so let's give you match stats for tomorrow. So, St Mirren come into this one having only won one game from their last 8, and that game was the Scottish League Cup final, which they contest in a couple of weeks against Celtic. Despite Aberdeen winning back in October, St Mirren have won 7 from the last 11 meetings between the two clubs. The last time Aberdeen beat St Mirren at Pittodrie was the 11th of August last year. The 3-1 victory marked the Dons' 200th win of the SPFL Premiership era. The man in the middle tomorrow is Steve McLean, and on VAR is Kevin Clancy. Don't forget that Ali Beg ABTV is also brought to you by Craig International, a procurement leader, a global leader when it comes to procurement. They have offices based all over the world to serve your procurement needs. They are in America. They are also in Canada, as well as on the European continent, here in Germany, up in Hamburg. Their home office is in Aberdeen, as you would expect. They also serve the Middle East in Qatar, in Dubai, and Oman. They're also based in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, as well as Australia, where business continues to do actually really, really well down in the Southern Hemisphere. So, as I always say, if you are looking for any sort of procurement services, give them a shout direct or come to me and I'll put you in touch with the folk at Craig International. Right, so let's get Yimmy on and let's hear what he had to say. This is it's a soundbite, and he's talking about basically the amount of games that are coming up and how the squad have to handle it.
You want to play games all the time, and it's everybody looking forward to games. And we're trying to manage, we have a big squad, and we're trying to, the players not involved in the squad, training really hard. So they are ready when the opportunity comes. So we mix the whole squad and try to take care of everyone, because we're going to need everyone. And when opportunities are there. So our objective is to enjoy this moment. If you can choose to be in Europe or not, you're going to choose to be in Europe, but still perform in the league. So we have to use everyone. And I think in the players sharing responsibility, and the players who are not involved in the squad tomorrow are going to train really hard. So they're also ready when the next game comes and when the opportunity comes. So I think we have found a good way to keep everybody sharp.
If you are heading to the game tomorrow, don't forget to pick up your copy of Red Match Day. Picture comes courtesy of the magnificent Dolly Digital, who continues to design the front covers of the magazine. It's packed with its usual fantastic features, brilliantly edited by Malcolm Panther, Mats Knuster on the front, who many are suggesting, I'm going to read out your comments in just a moment, you are suggesting that he is your player of the season so far. Quipco International, who are based in Abu Dhabi, also sponsor Ali Beg ABTV. They basically service the oil and gas industry. They have a number of services, and they also offer a number of products and manufacturing of products. What I've listed there just is the tip of the iceberg. So if you want to know exactly what they do and if they can help you in that region, if you're based in that region, go to their website, quipco.com, or as always, get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with the guys at Quipco. Right, let me just run down to the bottom. So, Scott Williamson says, start using the squad then, Yimmy. Players are not kicking a ball yet. Bilalovic, Frame, Kjartansson. Yeah, do you know, I have to be honest. I really want to see what these lads can offer. I really do. Particularly Kjartansson. Everybody is raving about this lad. I was in at Pittodrie ahead of the game against Noah, and the staff in there just think he's unbelievable. So I just want to see them. I just want to have a wee look, get a wee taste of what they're like. Graham Gibbs says, I agree with your thoughts on Jack Milne, but he did struggle in a back four. The three centre-backs setup was set up to support Jack. Right. Yeah, I'll take that point, Graham. Robert Fowler says, and what about throw-ins? Whenever we get one, we may as well award it to the opposition, as 9 times out of 10, we lose possession immediately. Do you know, I never thought about that, Robert. You're absolutely spot on about that, mate. Joseph Marshall says, tell me I'm wrong. 2 up top will create more space in the middle, giving our creative players more room to be creative. And it would also take pressure off our defence. Or am I wrong? No, you're not wrong, mate. James Jappy, thank you, mate. Callum Miller at Falkirk and Ethan Ross. Yes, mate, thank you. Ryan Harding said, read transfer rumours that Yenge held to Nilsson and Clarkson are leaving in January. What are your thoughts on this, Ali? Also, I don't think Carlson is suited to Scottish football. So, Yenge, yeah, cheerio. Nilsson, not for me. Not for me. No, not for me. Leighton Clarkson. Okay, Leighton Clarkson. Where do I stand with Leighton Clarkson? Leighton, so he came on against Noah. And what I liked about him was he was immediately looking for the ball, dropping deep, looking for the ball, looking to make something happen. But ultimately, he made nothing happen. There was one example where he got the ball just to the right of the centre circle and he did sort of a drag back and took 2 of their players right out of the game, and it lifted the crowd. Then within a heartbeat, he had an opportunity to run at their defence from about the middle of our own half and overran the ball and gave it away. I think Leighton has got unbelievable talent, but I think sometimes he's guilty of just trying too hard. When a simple pass is on, he's always looking for the Hollywood pass. I also think that he's a little, and this is not a pile-on. I just think he's a little bit lightweight, if I'm being honest. And sometimes, you know, when we really need physicality, I don't think Leighton is the one that we need in there. I think we need a Palaversa or a Polvara or a Graham Shinney or a Stuart Armstrong, who are quite physical players, I think. I have to be honest, I hope he doesn't leave, because I think he does bring something to us and he can change the game in the flash of an eye, I think. But I'm not sure he's going to stay. I think he wants more game time, and I think he'll be off. John Kylo said, Clarkson is costing us too much for not enough product. Moneyball says, get rid of him. Lucas Milne said, 4-3-3 is ideal for the players we have. Every single midfielder would benefit from being in a 3, whether it means less running for the older lot or better passing options. Coming back to the throw-ins, Graham Gibb and Robert Fowler having a bit of an exchange here, saying that I would have Jensen as chief culprit, waits forever, then just throws the ball and hopes. No thought, just aimless. Yeah. Mr. Orc, I think that is. It says at Mr. Orc. He says, good evening, dandies. So good evening to you back. So when we were talking about the fixtures, I wanted to have a quick look at it while you're here. By the way. So the watch along show tomorrow. So I've noticed that the club are now offering a pay-per-view option to be able to watch the game, which kind of made me think, oh no, that means everybody's going to want to watch the game and not come to watch us or watch me or whatever. But then I thought, you know what? You can stick your game on the telly, put it on mute, and watch me on the laptop. So I'm going to do it. I'm still going to do it. Why not? So, oh gosh. So leading up to Christmas, this is what our fixtures are like. So obviously we've got St Mirren tomorrow. Then on Saturday at 3 o'clock, we're away to Dundee. Then we've got Strasbourg in the Conference League a week on Thursday. Then on Sunday, we're at Pittodrie again for Kilmarnock. Then we go to Prague, where I think it's just about a sellout for the Aberdeen fans going to Prague on the 18th. Then on the following Sunday after that game, we've got a real test in Glasgow against Celtic at Celtic Park. So those are the games that are leading up to Christmas. Celtic away, Sparta Prague away, Kilmarnock, Strasbourg, St Mirren at home, and Dundee away. Those are our fixtures leading up to Christmas. Lots of games, thick and fast. Right, just let me see if there's any more comments. Scott Williams said, Mitov needs to start working on his distribution. His kickouts are horrendous and they're going to cost us big time. Lucas Milne said, Jensen also needs to steal 10 to 15 yards, gets told to go back and then kills any momentum. Gary Farquhar says, 2 strikers up top also gives us the opportunity for them to gamble off each other and gives us more chance of holding up for runners. But we need more overlaps by our wide men. Right. This was my issue. A lot of you are saying definitely do the watch along. I'm definitely going to do it. So we'll come on air tomorrow night, 5 minutes before kickoff. We will come on air. So have the game on the telly if you're going to watch it, PPV, and stick me on the laptop. Or even better, put me on the telly and stick the game on the laptop. Merciful Fate says, depending on wages, Shinnie is done. Ambrose, no way. Yenge, why is he at Aberdeen? Look, Peter Ambrose will go. Yenge will definitely go. I think Nilsson will definitely go. Leighton, for me, is touch and go. So I think there's going to be a fairly decent clear out, I think, come January. Scott Williams has said, are swear words allowed? No. Because my kids watch, so no, fella. Merciful Fate said, I'd bring Esther Sokler back. I would as well, fella. I would absolutely as well. Gary Farquhar says, Clarkson can change games, but the problem is players we need to do that aren't getting game time, so aren't as sharp as they could be. John Kylo says, Yenge is supposedly on a wheelbarrow of cash as well. Well, I can tell you, John, he is. I know that for a fact. He is. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. So thank you so much. We've done what? Oh, gosh, we've done nearly half an hour. So thanks for watching. So don't forget, I'll definitely do the watch along show tomorrow. We'll come on air 5 minutes before kickoff. If you want to know what the watch along show is, it's basically I'm watching the game here and I'm just going to be reporting on it as it happens. And then you guys can join in on the live chat. I'll read out all your comments, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just come and watch me watching the game. So I'll see you tomorrow, 5 minutes before kickoff. Enjoy your evening. See you.